If you're a musician trying to get online music students and nothing's working, this is why. It's not because you're a bad teacher, it's because you're posting the wrong things on social media. I'm going to show you exactly what to post instead using a real example from a client of mine who posted one simple question on Facebook and got hundreds of responses from potential students. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to post to start attracting your first online music students right now. So let's start with what's not working and why. There are two main types of posts that musicians mainly make when they're trying to get students. The first one is a video of themselves playing with the caption underneath, DM for lessons. And the second is something along the lines of music lessons available, all ages, all styles. Maybe you even spent a bit of money on an ad saying this and got nothing in response. The first one says absolutely nothing about what you do as a teacher or how you can actually help someone. And the other one just blends in because everybody's doing it. So here's the thing, the platform isn't the problem either. It doesn't matter whether you're posting on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, wherever, the problem is the structure of the post itself. And once you understand that, the fix is actually really simple. Now, I also get that a lot of musicians feel weird about putting themselves out there on social media, promoting yourself, talking about what you offer. It can feel uncomfortable. But here's what I want you to know. You don't need to run ads. You don't need a website. You don't even need to make spoken word content like this. But what you do have to do is post something. There's no way around that, okay? And at some point, if you want to get students online, you've got to make a decision. Do you want students or not? Because if you do, something has to go up on social media. The good news is there are formats that work even if you have zero following. You don't need an audience for this to work. And the best place to do this by far is Facebook, specifically Facebook groups, because they're concentrated. They're full of the exact type of person you're trying to reach. And the key to making this work is being specific about who that person actually is. But I'll show you exactly what I mean when we get to the posts themselves. So the first type of post you're going to make, we just call it a question post. And this is where specificity matters because the question you ask needs to speak directly to the exact type of student you're trying to attract. If you're going after beginners, your question needs to speak to beginner problems. If you want more serious intermediate players, it needs to speak to their struggles. The more targeted it is, the more the right people are going to respond. Now, I'm going to use a real example here. I've got a client that I'm currently helping build his online teaching, and I want to show you something that's actually working right now in the real world. It's also worth noting that this is a post from him in just one Facebook group, so he doesn't have a big following or anything like that. He's a guitarist. He's focused on helping intermediate guitarists. And the question he posted was this: how are you currently approaching your guitar practice sessions? That's it. Simple. And look at these responses, right? There are heaps of them. People jumping in, sharing what they're doing, talking about what's working, talking about what's not working and the things that they're struggling with. And that's exactly the point, because now you've got a gold mine of information. You know exactly what your ideal students are thinking about, what's frustrating them, and what they're trying to figure out. Now, here's what you actually do with all of that. Now that you've got a bunch of responses to your question post, people have told you exactly what they're struggling with in their own words. Now you're going to use that to write a short article. And I want to be clear, short, okay? We're talking maybe 150 words. This isn't a blog post. It's a tight, focused piece of writing that does two things, okay? The first half describes the problem. And this part matters more than people realize, because how well you can articulate what someone is struggling with is what is going to build trust with you. When someone reads it and thinks, man, that's exactly what's happening to me, they're already starting to see you as someone who gets it. And the second half is an observation or a solution, something that they can take away or something that sparks a conversation in the comments. Now, once again, here's an example here from my client who used the answers from this question to formulate an article. Now, the title, really good title. Why more practice doesn't always lead to better results on the guitar. Let's break this down a little bit because there's a little bit going on under the hood here. So the first half, he's really speaking to the experience of practice not being effective, right? Feeling like you're spinning your wheels a little bit. Look, you know, you've got an hour blocked out, but you decide what to practice only once the guitar is in your hands, right? Half learning things, jumping between songs, right? This is a very common experience for guitarists, right? You hit a plateau, okay? So see how the first half of this is really digging into the experience of the frustration that these guitarists are having, you know? And then at some point, the second half, we start to look at some kind of realization or some kind of observation. Now, the point of this article that he's making here, and I think it's a very good point, quality always trumps quantity when it comes to practice, right? Like, practicing a lot doesn't always mean that you get better if you're practicing the wrong way. So I think it's a really good article. It's very simple. It makes a really, really good point. And once again, there's slightly less comments here, but these people that comment are going to be the people that resonate with this, okay? You're going to have some people giving a bit of advice and stuff like that. Sure, okay, fine. But look at this. This person here said, I've arrived at a plateau after a few years. For a long time, I focused on doing exercises. It doesn't seem to help anymore. I'm kind of stuck, right? That's a potential student right there, right? That's someone who's clearly struggling with this issue and who needs some help, who needs some guidance. So with just this simple observation, right, for the right person, it really lands. And it came directly from what people told him in the comments of that question post. That's kind of the whole idea. You're not guessing what to write. You're using their words to write something that speaks directly back to them. So this is where it all kind of comes together. You post a question, you get the responses, and you use those responses to write something valuable, write something helpful, and then you repeat it. That's the whole loop, right? And as long as you keep going, you'll start to see which topics resonate with your ideal students, which ones get the most engagement, the most comments, and the most conversation. Now, here's why this works so well, okay? One, you're not selling anything, right? You're just showing up, you're trying to be helpful, trying to offer advice and generating engagement. And these Facebook groups, they love engagement, by the way. So the more activity your posts get, the more the group's algorithm will push them out to other members. So it really compounds over time. The second thing is every single person that comments on either of these posts is potentially an ideal student. Because if you're posting about problems that your ideal students are struggling with, those are exactly the people who are going to engage. They're basically raising their hand and telling you that they care about this stuff. And third, now those people are kind of warm. So you can reach out to them and say, hey man, I saw what you said on Facebook, and you can get into a bit of a DM conversation. And from there, you can start talking about their issues and maybe talk about your teaching and see if you can potentially help them and potentially bring them on as a student. This is a really simple way to test ideas, see what resonates, see what brings your ideal students forward, and start getting into the conversations that turn into students. So that's the whole thing, right? Two simple types of posts, one loop. A question to surface what your ideal students are struggling with, and then a short article that just speaks directly to those struggles. You repeat it, you see what lands, and let the right people come forward naturally. You don't need a big following. You don't need to be running ads or building some elaborate content strategy. You just need to show up in the right place, say something useful, and do it consistently. And here's the thing, every person that engages with your posts is a potential student. You're not just shouting into the void and hoping that someone finds you. You're actually having real conversations with real people who are already telling you what they need help with. Once that starts happening, the next step is obviously knowing what to do with those conversations, right? How do you take someone from commenting on your post to actually becoming a paying student? That's exactly what I cover in this video here. It's a framework to help you know what to say to turn someone into a student. So go and check that out next.